Sup guys, so for this episode I wanted to do things a little bit differently. I kind of plan on shifting these episodes to the point by which I speed along the process of leveling, so you guys don't have to, go through the process in that kind of standard time with me, because it took me like an hour to get like a level and a half through. So I went from, as you can see, 7 to 8, but I made it like maybe 60% of the way through level 8, so I'm close to 9. So, we'll be getting to that soon. But here we stand. I mean, I was hoping like you guys would be cool with that. If you want me to bring it down to standard time so you can see what Dale does on that kind of basis, let me know, because it is, of course, a little bit different of an experience to have to watch him in this kind of hyperspeed. So the plan is to basically, I'm going to watch the episode along with you guys, in this speed, and I'm going to do my best to describe what's going on, what I'm thinking at that moment, or anything really. I'm just going to go over like maybe my anticipations going forward with Dale, or like maybe just like a general discussion of Kronos as a whole versus maybe other servers. So currently I'm working with this add-on called Vanilla Guide. Don't know if you guys have heard of it, but seems like a lot of people have started to use it most recently. And I did like a lot of walking at the start of this video, because I was kind of just confused as to where I was supposed to be going, and it's mainly because I set upon myself to like do a lot of the starting quests in Elwyn Forest just by myself, because I'm so used to it, and then at this point, in the process, I kind of decided that I wanted to follow Vanilla Guide, because it really is pretty meticulous in the way that it brings you through like each level. And at a certain point, it requires for you to like take a certain quest like at an early stage, so that you can later finish it at a level that's well beyond the current one that you're at. So for example, like if I were to go to Stormwind at some point during this process, like let's say to maybe get like class abilities, it would probably say, okay, get this quest from Stormwind, and then we'll finish it later as we go to the other zones. So that's why I kind of wanted to start on Vanilla Guide at this point in time. So what I'm doing now is I'm finishing up a chain to reach Goldtooth, and he's in this Fargo Deep mine, and there wasn't a whole lot of people like kind of crowding around the area, and I'll talk about why I think that is currently, because I think in the last episode I saw a lot more people, at least in this cave, in this area, mine. I'm sorry. I mean, as you can see, there are people passing by and stuff. It's what should be expected, but I think it can be said that there are less people this time around. So I think the reason for that is that the initial like mass migrators from Nostalrius came in already, and they kind of passed the point by which I'm at currently. I think they're leveling a little bit faster than I am. I'm not really going that fast. I'm kind of taking things casually, I guess. Yeah, so here's Goldtooth. And I think I get maybe I get a nice piece after doing this quest. Yeah, I know there were like a few boots that were like available after the completion of this. We'll see what I do. But yeah, I mean, that was going on, and yeah, so like all those players I think passed me at this point, so I'm kind of lagging behind. I'm trying to maybe catch up just a little bit. Of course, I think regardless of where I am, in relation to that, wave of players, I think Hogger is going to be crowded as hell. And if it's not, then it's not. But I just feel like that's usually a point of interest for a lot of these low-level people to, go to. Because it gives a lot of experience, a lot of decent gear. I did want to talk about my experience actually logging in during this episode. So there was a server shutdown just prior to when I was, coming into the server, obviously. And I don't know how long the server shutdown was going for, but right after it, I was able to log in and skip the queue. The potential queue that could have been showing up, because guys, I've heard some horror stories about these queues, man. Like, it gets pretty bad apparently. So I'm glad I bypassed that. I met up with a kind of a guildie, right? Later at like the East Vale logging camp, you'll see throughout this episode. Right now I'm dealing with Murlocs, and man, I had to be really careful because Murlocs are like the fucking bane of my existence. I swear to God. You attract one and a mob of others just come swarming in on you, so you gotta be careful. So I also, wanted to talk about, like, of course, my anticipations going forward with Dale. And, what I'm thinking, just kind of like as part of the short-term anticipations, I'm looking forward to getting like some nice weapons. That's kind of my thing. I'm running Fury, as you guys may know, throughout this leveling experience. Let me know if I should go arms or not, because I did mention before, I think in the last episode, that arms is pretty useful up until like level 40, and then you should go to Fury. But I don't know. I feel like if I just go Fury, it'll just make things a little more consistent and straightforward in my eyes. But it doesn't matter. You guys don't have to comment on that. I'm sure you wouldn't anyways. It's fine, guys. New zones that I'm looking forward to. Also among the short term would be Westfall. That's coming up quite soon, guys. When I hit about level 10 is when Vanilla Guide throws me into that zone. And I don't know which, quest it's going to want me to do. Usually Vanilla Guide, skips over some of the more grindy quests, which is nice. I enjoy that. Every now and then, I don't mind, like, a nice grind here or there. Kind of eases the mind sometimes. For some people, it can kind of be frustrating. Oh yeah, so at this moment, I remember, oh man, this one of the casters here, yeah, that Geomancer, man, he killed me, and that was a fun time. I was having a jam. I was like, fuck me. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to Dead Mines, which is of course in the Westfall zone. Post Sentinel Hill, actually there are a few quests from Sentinel Hill that you get that kind of lead into Dead Mines, and you get some nice pieces, man. Like, there's the Tunic of Westfall. I think that's actually mainly, I think that's a leather piece. I'm used to getting the leather equipment from that, because I used to have like 19 twinks, and man, those were like the main quests to get some of the nicer pieces of gear for 19 twinks anyways, but that's beside the point. I'm looking forward to Dead Mines, guys. That process, when you go through that instance, man, it takes like an hour and a half. Maybe down to like an hour or something with like an optimal group, but it's tough, guys. Assuming that you're going in with a level range of around like 17 to 20, which can be expected. You just gotta be wary of that stuff, man. Because if you don't have the time to go through like an hour and a half process, then you're not gonna finish Dead Mines, and you're not gonna finish the quests that you need to finish, for those nice pieces, as I said. Okay, so Hogger, another guy I'm looking forward to, of course, but long-term expectation or desires, I guess you could say, would be Alterac Valley. I don't know about you guys, but there's something about Alterac Valley that is just so cool. There's so much lore behind it, and the fact that like each faction has their own kind of elite boss that they can summon, given like enough resources in the game. Oh my god, that's so cool. And not only that, but like the bottlenecking that goes on between the, between the two factions. Man, when you get those huge, like, intertwined battles, man, that's awesome. I love it. So that, and also rating, of course. Rating, I don't know when it's coming out, but AQ on Courage, both 40 and 20, the gates are going to open at some point. I think relatively soon. People are working on, like, that process of opening the gates. I couldn't tell you the time by which they'll open. Hopefully they open by the summer, That'd be pretty sick. Let's see. So, I also kind of wanted to talk about the fact that Twinstar, the site that kind of sponsors Kronos, and a number of other servers, works with like account distribution. So if you wanted to, you'd be able to like purchase like a level 60 character, for example, potentially. And normally that would be a red flag, I think, for a lot of people, and for me included. But I would say that at the end of the day, like, if there's a will to just get yourself to 60 and just experience the end game content, there's a way to get there. And what I mean by that is that, guys, there's like black markets for this shit, like, and it's everywhere. And you got to keep in mind that we're working with a private server. It's kind of, it's illegal to begin with. It's not, I don't think it's such a stretch to imagine that the use of, black markets to acquire gold or like a higher level, is such a stretch. It's not such a big deal, but I'm not going to utilize them. Keep in mind, okay? I just want to say that off the bat. I'm not advocating them. I'm just saying that it should be expected that such a thing would be available. And the fact that accounts are distributed doesn't really bother me that much. Of course, when we talk about what is Blizz like, at the end of the day, I feel like even back then, like when it really was patch 1.12.1, which I think was back in like 2006, 2005 maybe, I think there were black markets, all that good stuff. Oh, this is the guildie I was talking about. Yeah, he didn't have the quest that I had, and I didn't even realize. He just kind of joined along with me on this process, and I thought it was awesome. He's a really cool guy for doing such a thing, I think. And that's kind of like another cool thing about this server, and maybe just vanilla in general, is that the camaraderie, is much more prevalent, I think, than any other expansion. Maybe TBC. I feel like TBC, you need to team up a lot. But even besides that, I think it's mainly vanilla where such a thing goes on. And I think it's awesome, of course. But this is around... Okay, so I'm 36% into level 8. As I said, I went through, I think, until like 60%. So, yeah, I was finishing up these quests. These quests got me pretty far in the process. That was cool. They were a bit grindy, but like I said before, I don't really mind the grindy quests too much, depending on where I am, Sometimes it gets, I don't know, really monotonous. It goes without saying, of course, with a grind, there's monotony, but I don't know, depending on where you are, it can kind of get bothersome. I did want to talk about how Kronos was kind of my decision over any other server currently, and that's really mainly because of the fact that it's so well scripted. In fact, people will say stuff about how the server is probably like one of the best vanilla scripted servers out there, period. I don't know if that's true for sure, okay? But based on my experience, I haven't gone through any quests that gave me any trouble as far as bugs or you know, I don't know, absent mobs or loot items or whatever the case. I didn't deal with any of that so far. So, and of course, also, I think I've been in, yeah, so I've been in Dead Mines on this server before. I have a few characters that are above level 10, but that was, I made those a while ago. So I went through Dead Mines and there was no problem with that. So that was awesome. Same went for Nostalrius, but you know, even Dead Mines, I mean, that's a pretty, you know, extensive task to have to, I think, script. I really don't know the difficulty level, but whatever the case, it's, you know, it's impressive if that's true, that it's one of the best scripted servers out there right now, private servers. Let's see. I wanted to talk about the character models. Someone mentioned to me that vanilla was like perfect to them, except for the fact that kind of the character models, the newer ones, was something they kind of preferred. And I'm not a big fan of the newer ones just because of the style. It's a little too cartoony for me. Right, so this is where it cuts off, guys. So I'm going to end it here, and we'll continue our discussion as we move forward. If you guys want me to change things up, let me know. Alright, guys, I'll see you. Peace.